Going down on Tyrone Bowman live. And it all went down last night all across America. The Democrats won big, and I'm going to cover every part of beginning with this video first. So as we're getting down to business on today, this article that I'm going to read is from Time or Time magazine. It's entitled "The Billionaires Who Tried and Failed to Stop Zohran Mamdani." Over 20 billionaires donated to super PACs supporting Cuomo or in opposition to the now mayor-elect of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. This article was written by Rebecca Schneid. I think I pronounced her name right. Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm getting started, let me talk for a quick moment. We're in the process of building a nice studio for Tyrone Bowman live. And if you'd like to help, if you'd like to donate, just simply donate $1. That's it. I'm not asking for any more or asking for any less. Your dollar will go a long way. Simply go to my Cash App at Tyrone Bowman, $Pixel, PIEXEL, number 4. Everything you send goes directly to our graphic designer. Over to New York City, I did find a powerful video. I'm going to put it on here. It's going to be pretty long, but you know what? It has to be seen before the day is over. So I want to get started. I don't want to waste any time. According to Time, Zohran Mamdani defeated a Republican, a fellow Democrat, and an army of billionaires when he emerged victorious in the New York City mayoral election that took place on Tuesday. Mamdani, a self-described democratic socialist, will be the first Muslim to ever hold the position and the youngest mayor in over a century. The Associated Press predicted the Assembly member the winner shortly after 9:30 p.m. The 34-year-old campaigned during a time of raising financial insecurity on making the city more affordable for most of the city's residents through rent freezes, free buses, and universal child care. To pay for those policies, he's promised a modest tax increase for New York City's millionaires and a rise in the corporate tax rate. Spooked by the prospect of paying slightly higher taxes and by his often repeated belief that billionaires shouldn't exist, more than 20 billionaires pulled out their checkbooks to stop Mamdani from becoming mayor of the United States, most populous city, beginning during the Democratic primary campaign and when he faced former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo for the first time. I keep telling you all that there is plenty of money in this nation. Plenty of money. There is no shortage of money in America. There is no shortage of prosperity in America. It's the fact that individuals would rather take their money and use it for other insignificant purposes instead of looking out for those who cannot look out for themselves. And that has been a problem with the majority of these billionaires. They rather take their money, which they have, whether they got up a hook or crook, legally or illegally. They want to use their money to propagate and promote their own personal agenda. That's why they want candidates whom they can control, candidates who will bow down at the altar of green, candidates who will not question them, just go along with the status quo. Well, in New York City on last night, whether people like it or not, the trajectory changed. The the political arena has changed. When you become your true, authentic self in life, you're always going to succeed. Well, some people might not like the way you wear your hair or the texture of your skin color. Some people might not like the way you talk or the way you dress. Be who you are, your own authentic, genuine self. And people will be more ready to accept you for who you are and not for what you're trying to be. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about why down in Virginia, the Democrat was elected governor instead of the MAGA candidate that they propped up and then abandoned her because she didn't have the complexion for the connection. Now back to this article. Most of the money was poured into three main super PACs, both pro-Cuomo and anti-Mamdani. Fix the City, the PAC supporting Cuomo's bid since the primary, spent millions on television ads for the former mayor and against Mamdani. Anti-Mamdani PACs defend New York City, started by former advisor to President Donald Trump, Jason Meister, and 4 Our City have also taken in great sums from billionaires, donors, like former Mayor Michael Bloomberg and hedge fund manager Bill Ackman. I've told you before that there are too many individuals. There are too many. A man of God will not. You know what? You can go someplace with that corny comment. Let me tell you something. Any so-called men of God like the evangelicals will not stand for racism and bigotry and Nazism, but they're all a part of the Republican Party. And they still support those racist, bigoted policies. What? There's nothing to be said now, is there? Go look it up for yourself. All of those televangelists that you love so much, they're all racist, they're all bigoted, they're all anti-black, male and female, and they have taken monies from the billionaires to sway their congregants to vote for MAGA, racist, bigoted Republicans. And there's nowhere in Scripture where it says that a man of God can't be a Democrat. If that's the case, then so-called men of God should not be Republicans either. Now get back to what I'm talking about here. Billionaires always have a PAC, a political action committee, that they funnel their money into and through to support their political ideologies and their causes. And any candidate that will agree with them, those are the ones that they will prop up. It's not that they loved Andrew Cuomo so much. They just hate anyone that's not Anglo-Saxon in America. That's why they wanted Andrew Cuomo, the former governor, to become mayor of New York City. He was never going to win anyway. It was not going to happen because New Yorkers know him and they did not want him. People are fed up. People are fed up whether people like it or not. They're tired. They're tired of inflation. They're tired of joblessness. They're tired of Black people being fired unceremoniously from jobs simply because of the color of their skin. People are tired. And look at what's going on with the government shutdown now in its 39th day, I think, or 36th or 39th day. Being held hostage politically, punishing people who urgently and emphatically need SNAP benefits. And I did the homework. The vast majority of the people who get welfare and money from welfare for Head Start and child care, they're Republicans. Deep down in the Republican red states, in Kentucky is one of the most poverty-stricken states in the Union. And Republicans are on welfare like crazy down there, and those are the simple-minded people who voted against their own interests. And now they're saying they regret their vote. No, you can't regret your vote because you did it deliberately and you knew exactly what you were doing. People were warned, they were told, they were instructed, but they did not care. So the billionaires saw so they thought they had an opportunity to get Cuomo back in office because Adams was done. Eric Adams was never going to be reelected mayor of New York City. He sold New York out a long time ago. And he's already accepted his new job. He's going to be the ambassador, I think, to Saudi Arabia. That's why you don't hear him saying, that's why he's always laughing in the camera, well, I'm going to start my new job. We already know what his new job is. He's going to be the ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Point blank, bottom line. And that's all about money. So during his campaign, Mamdani often remarked on the huge amounts of money being spent to defeat him. Quote, they're spending more money than I would even tax them, end quote. He said in an interview with MSNBC last week. He also agreed with the billionaires that his agenda posted a threat to their power. Quote, billionaires like Bill Ackman and Ronald Lauder have poured millions of dollars into this race because they say that we pose an existential threat, close quote. Mamdani said at an October 13 rally, quote, and I am here to admit something. They are right. We are an existential threat to billionaires who think their money can buy our democracy, close quote. Now I'm going to read you the list of the billionaires. It's not all of them, but here are some of the billionaires who tried to thwart Mamdani's campaign. And before I do that, I want to say this. If you think that billionaires are your friends, you are sadly mistaken. And you know what the sad and pathetic thing about it is? They blatantly and systematically go about admitting just how greedy they are. They only care about profit margins. They only care about their share as stockholders. They only care about how much money they can make. They despise unions. They hate those who work for them, but they have to employ them. They just want to make money at the expense of any and everybody. Look at the price of rent for raggedy apartments that the pathetic landlords will not fix up. In New York City, the rent there is off the chain. For a little square box, people are paying enormous sums, and they have to work outside of the city. That's why the majority of them come to live in Philadelphia, so they can make enough money to pay the rent in New York. Food prices are out of control. Gas prices are out of control. Taxes are going up, out of control. Billionaires are getting lower taxes on everything, and they get tax incentives, tax breaks, everything they get. They don't want to pay for nothing. They really don't even want to pay taxes. That's why they put their money in different places. They hide it, they bury it, like they're going to take it with them, overseas and etc. Meanwhile, what do? They play this game of political chess. They want all the races to be at each other's throats 24 hours a day. They want discontentment, confusion, and pandemonium running wild throughout the nation. Stop falling for the okie doke. And if they thought what happened on Tuesday was something, next year, during the midterm elections, there are going to be major upsets all around the place. When people are angry and frustrated and tired, they're going to vote against the very people that they put in power. At the top of the list, Michael Bloomberg spent $13.3 million of his own money to try not to get Mamdani elected. He poured it into a super PAC. Bloomberg, former 3-term mayor of New York and co-founder of Bloomberg LP, now reportedly worth over $100 billion, gave $5 million to Cuomo to fix the city in the final month of the campaign, adding on top of more than $8 million in support of Cuomo during the Democratic primary. Bloomberg and Mamdani met for the first time in September, a meeting that Howard Wolfson, a political advisor to Bloomberg, told the New York Times was definitely cordial and substantive, but it didn't translate to him endorsing him. He put the money into a failing, losing campaign of Andrew Cuomo. Still, Bloomberg reaffirmed his endorsement of Cuomo in late October. Birds of a feather flock together. The Lauder family spent $2.6 million. Ronald Lauder, son of cosmetic innovator S.D. Lauder, donated $750,000 in September followed by another 250,000 in October to fix the city. Lauder has served as the president of the World Jewish Congress since 2007 and is a staunch supporter of Israel. His wife, Jo Carroll, Lauder also donated $500,000 to fix the city. That's a political action committee, while his nephew, William Lauder, has given $1 million. Half during the primary and half during the general election. Other members of the family have altogether donated hundreds of thousands more dollars. Does that sound like they're on the side of the average everyday person? Does it sound like they care about the least of these in the nation? No. They would rather give the money to a failing campaign. According to Forbes, the Lauder family as a whole is worth $25.9 billion. Next is Joe Gebbia. He donated $2 million. Joe Gebbia, a co-founder of R&B, R&B, those places where people go, has spent a total of $2 million in the race, including $1 million apiece to fix the city and defend New York City. Both political MAGA action PACs. Gebbia is the chief design officer for President Donald Trump, who endorsed Cuomo in the final days of the election. He is worth around $7.7 billion. On October 20, Gebbia posted to X that Swallow, the founder of the Guardian Angels, the old guy now, could still be the hero, urging him to drop out to help Cuomo win, a narrative many centrist Democrats and Republicans pushed in the attempt to stop Mamdani's win. That's a picture of him right now. Well, no, that's the picture there right there. Let me tell you something. They tried to act like this was a close race. This was not a close race. Mamdani was leading in all the polls. Cuomo was trailing behind. Stop believing everything that the pollsters say, and especially from that other network over there. All they talk about is Republican stuff all day, all night. Nobody else is doing anything good. See, they have to try to have the final word on everything. And you have to reject what they say because that's lying news over there. Lying, bigoted news. Bill Ackman donated $1.75 million. That's $100 million.75 million. Hedge fund investor Ackman has been one of the most outspoken billionaires to come out against Mamdani. He had donated $1 million to defend New York City and another $750,000 to fix the city between April and October 2025. Those are political action committees. Ackman, who is worth over $8 billion, according to Bloomberg, regularly commented on the mayoral race on social media after sharing Cuomo's post. New York Post articles calling Mamdani, quote, a commie. In commentary, urging Republican nominee Curtis Sweeler to drop out. So they call him a communist, but it's okay for a racist to continue to win elections? MAGA bigots, MAGA racists, people who are prejudiced. So you can be that and be elected to office because that's the status quo. You pass the litmus test. But if you're anything that they don't like, then they want to come against you. So anything that berates people, tears people down, you can be a member of the KKK, but that's okay because they'll give you money to run for office. But you just can't be an individual who your own person and care about people, have compassion for people, but as long as you're just the opposite of that, then they're happy with you. I've heard preachers say, well, we didn't elect a saint, we elected a president. Well, why didn't you hold the same litmus tests for those who are Democrats? Democrats have a litmus test. They want them to be perfect. But the MAGA Republicans can be imperfect in every single way, and they cheer them on and tell them they're doing God's work. How are you doing God's work starving people? How are you doing God's work neglecting the least of these among us? How are you doing God's work by not looking out for the homeless, the seniors, and the elderly? How are you doing God's work by allowing children to starve in a land of plenty? You're doing the devil's work, not God's work. Mamdani is not the right mayor because he is a socialist with no experience running anything, quote unquote. Oh, really? Well, I recall somebody who won in 2016 who didn't have any experience running the nation, but the elected president. They said the same thing about Barack Obama, who was a senator. Oh, well, he's inexperienced, so he shouldn't become president. That's the problem in politics now. You got a bunch of old people sitting back, antiquated, outdated in their thinking with their policies, who think anybody who is not like them should not be able to hold a seat. Wrong. You don't need the experience to be in government. Just be smart enough to learn. You don't have to be an experienced politician to know about morality, to know about compassion and empathy toward those that you want to vote for you. You don't have to pass a litmus test that says you have to belong to a certain religion or a certain persuasion of faith. That's not what the Constitution says. And I read the Constitution all the time. You don't have to be an individual that bows down at the altar of greed because greedy people want to stay greedy. No, you don't have to pass those type of litmus tests. You don't have to concur with a certain political ideology. Vote your conscience. Let your conscience be your guide. As I said last week, at some point in time, the Republicans are going to have to come to their senses. The adults are going to have to sit down in a room together, come to their consensus, and end this governmental shutdown. It's gotten out of hand. It's going on way too long. And people are hurting every day. And they're going to continue to suffer. And the billionaires are going to say everything is wonderful in America. Oh, the gas is down, taxes are down, people are happy. Isn't it wonderful? Meanwhile, people are going hungry, people are homeless, they're being evicted, they're being thrown out into the streets, their cars are being repossessed, their mortgages are being foreclosed on, they're being fired from their jobs under the guise of quote unquote being laid off. They can't afford to live where they live. The rent is too high. When the place is broken and things are repaired, landlords don't want to fix them, but they want the rent money on time. So who advocates for them? So when someone comes along who's not a part of the status quo and shows empathy and compassion toward everyday people, y'all don't want that man in office. You want someone that's corrupt, someone that will do what you want them to do. Every major city in America is going through a trying time. Democrats won overwhelmingly because people are angry. People are tired. They're hungry. You got government workers right now who are in food lines. I saw the videos. MAGA Republicans down in the deep South are in food lines. They're embarrassed to wear the MAGA cap. Farmers are losing hundreds of millions of dollars because there's nobody there to work the farms. People are terrified of what's going on in this nation. And there seems to be no end in sight. Well, you have an opportunity to change it come next year. Question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to whine and complain? Or are you going to exercise your right to vote and change the trajectory of Congress? Now, that's the only choice you have. Do something about it. They know that the populace in the nation, when they speak, when they organize and unify, that things are going to change. The next billionaire, his name is Barry Diller, who gave $500,000. That's it right there. Diller, a media mogul who founded Fox with Rupert Murdoch and is the chairman of IAC, an Expedia group, made two donations totaling $500,000 to the MAGA PAC to fix the city. They come up with all these silly names. And people wonder who they are. Well, now you know who does what. Diller, who is worth $5 billion, has been a longtime Democratic donor and endorsed Cuomo in March this year. Laurie Tisch donated $150,000. That's her photo. The Tisch family, whose fortune is gained from the Lowe's Corporation, has also been active during the mayoral election. Laurie Tisch, a philanthropist known for the Laurie M. Tisch Illumination Fund, gave $150,000 to fix the city over the course of the primary and general election. Other members of the family have also given over $1 million to the group combined. Ladies and gentlemen, you all better hear me and hear me well. These billionaires are the reason why America is screwed up and in trouble. These billionaires are heartless and greedy. And some of them, they have a pet charity because they think by donating money that somehow Almighty God is going to be happy with them. Meanwhile, the soup lines and the food lines and the shelters are getting fuller and fuller every day. Steve Wynn, he's much older now. That used to be the brother who used to make all the commercials about the casinos, and that's how he looks today. Something's going on there with Steve. Wynn, a real estate developer and Las Vegas luxury casino mogul, is a prominent donor to the Republican Party and was the finance chair of the Republican National Convention from 2017 to 2018, before he resigned following a Wall Street Journal report regarding sexual harassment allegations. In the New York City mayoral campaign, Wynn donated $500,000 to Cuomo's Fix the City in October. Wynn is worth around $3.9 billion. That's a lot of cheddar. $3.9 billion. Where's the money for the homeless? Where's the money for the unemployed workers? Where's the money for housing and daycare? Some of these politicians don't care. They just want you to get out there and fend for yourself. And now people are resorting to doing all type of criminal things. That's what they want. Because they want a reason to lock you up so they can continue to make money off of you. You know how much it costs to house one person per year? Their merchandise. Almost $60,000+ for every person that gets locked up. Because they think their money is everything. That's why they worship billionaires. Alice Walton, the heir to the Walmart fortune that was founded by her father, Sam Walton, donated $200,000. Heiress to the Walmart fortune, Walton has donated $200,000 to fix the city in two donations, half in April during the primary and half in August. Walton's Art Foundation has loaned works to and given grants to institutions in New York City, including the Whitney Museum of American Art, and is listed as the world's 14th richest person, according to the Bloomberg Billionaire Index, worth $124 billion. And this is the same person who won't even pay her employees a decent wage to work at Walmart. These people are cheap. You've gone to Walmart stores. You see how they work hard for little to nothing. And got all these strings attached. Walton has a checkered past with politics, with cross-party donations to both Republican and Democratic candidates. She donated to the re-election of former President George W. Bush and to a fundraising committee that supported 2016 presidential candidate and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end this video, let me break this down to you. Next year, billions of dollars are going to be spent from Democrats and Republicans alike, because the Republicans want to retain power. They don't care about helping you or me. The Democrats have a chance to grow and expand and to do the right thing. But they're going to have to remain united, strong, and firm, and unified in order to get things done. America is in trouble, but America can be saved and fixed before it's too late. You can't say that this is the land of the free and the home of the brave, when in the land of the free and home of the brave, even the brave people who fought and bled in all these wars are not even treated right when they come back. They're not even treated decently. They got to fight tooth and nail to get the Veterans Affairs Department to do anything for them. They go to the veterans hospitals, they don't get enough care accurately. They just dope them up with medicine. Want to ignore the fact that they bled and for their country, they got wounded for their country, but their country, in many instances, doesn't want to. I'm Carlton Banks. We will be back after these messages. I like that, Anthony. That's cool. And they want people just to do what they want. Never forget the Vietnam War. Never forget it. Many of those men who went and bled are still suffering today. I know a lot of them. And they told me about the horrors of the Vietnam War. And they told me the things that they were instructed to do in the name of democracy. Isn't it ironic? And this will be my last comment. During the Vietnam War, black men and white men could go and fight and die together and come back and couldn't even live together. Yes, I said it. And some of them went on to become politicians. And you have people in your family, and you know I'm telling the truth, who are still suffering from Vietnam. Some of them are suffering mentally, some are suffering psychologically, some are suffering emotionally. Some of them are having terrible, terrible dreams at night for the atrocities that was committed. Some of them, they've come back with missing limbs, and they had to fight tooth and nail to be declared medically eligible to receive disability benefits. Now, you tell me if I'm lying or not. I talk to them all the time. And that's why I listen to people's stories. And many of them are homeless on the streets. They will want somebody. You got teachers, doctors, lawyers, professors, preachers, entertainers that are now homeless. People who made millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars going through hard times. That's what the billionaires, that's just a list, a partial list of some of them, have decided to do with their money. Never surrender, never quit.